We're the Misfit Monsters.
It's actually cooling.
We're actually it's myself, Jamin. Okay, see, that's why I want to start over now.
Just go.
Too
late.
Now it's.
We're proving we're misfits. Please.
Yeah,
go.
right. So my name is Jamin. I'm the GM. This is
Dave.
No, you.
You okay?
Maybe you shouldn't point with Dave.
I'm Lucas.
All right.
Hello, whatever we're talking about.
We're starting over. Hi, my name is Jamin. I'm the GM, and this is
Lucas.
And this is
Elise.
And this is
Krista Lee.
And this is
Dave.
All right. And we are starting our channel doing a game of Pathfinder. Oh my goodness.
This is so much better when we were like...
I know, right?
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
This feels pretty on point to me.
All right, we're doing a game called Shattered Fates. It's a Pathfinder game, and unfortunately, when we started it, for some reason, the first hour of our entire Twitch broadcast didn't get recorded. So we're going to go over pretty much everything for you. And I'm doing a terrible job of it, so there's going to be a lot of jump cuts in that YouTube video.
I'm so very glad that new users, new viewers are just watching this right now.
I know. They're like, what is this thing that they are doing?
So make sure to tell your friends to log on to Twitch now.
Which
so
I
they
did.
get the full experience.
There is a few people already.
This is authentic.
Watching.
This is real.
I already shared it on Twitter and Facebook too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, it was so much better on Sunday, but it's Tuesday now, so we're all like spent. All right, so the name of the game is Shattered Fates. It takes place in the Pathfinder universe, specifically in the city of Absalom, which is the city at the center of the world. Now, the city of Absalom has existed within this world at this point for thousands of years. And it has always existed as an independent city. Many people throughout the years have attempted to lay siege to it, and every single one of them has failed. We are actually going to be beginning just outside of Absalom in a place called Westerhold. It's sort of like a suburb of sorts, just outside of the walls. And Sam right now is walking past.
Scene number. Do you want the map up?
What's that? No, I'm okay.
Okay.
Everything's fine. We're doing it in post.
Everything.
People are watching it live right now.
Fine.
So
I can't bring up that map is the problem. I'd have to set up all of the other servers and stuff and all that kind of stuff.
So tune in.
I'm very sorry.
To the next actual episode. Well, not episode.
There'll
the
be
next
footnotes.
video, and you'll get to see all the cool maps.
Yeah, unfortunately, the maps I can't do. I apologize. They'll be in the video, and this will obviously be cut out as well. There's a lot of jump cuts so far.
I think it's great. It's raw.
Yeah. So yeah, the city of Absalom, in Westerhold, and I'm trying to use my hand to show the city itself. Actually, if anyone wants to look it up right now, go to Gmail and type Pathfinder Absalom, and then an image search. You'll find a ton of pictures of the city itself. In fact, if you want more information about the Pathfinder world, I'm going to try to do my best while we play and everything else to fill people and the players in on the different places and information. But there's actually just a Pathfinder wiki that has all the information. Like, if I say Absalom, you can just type in Absalom, look it up, and they'll have the entire description of it there. Keeping in mind, though, that I likely will be destroying the world fairly quickly on. But you'll still at least have that as its history and background and everything else.
It's a starting point.
You got it.
Exactly.
So we start there in the Wassenberg Academy. The Wassenberg Academy is run by Wilhelm. What was that?
You have to stand up straight in his
sorry.
presence.
Headmaster Werner von Wassenberg. Now, Werner von Wassenberg is a man who believes in absolute order, and he believes in discipline. But he believes that every child, no matter where they come from, with a bit of discipline, can actually become a part of the world, a useful part of the world. Now, of course, he does believe that the majority of the best of these children come from rich stock. And that typically orphans and things of that nature are ones who do not. Now, the player characters are playing orphans who have been allowed into the school.
Dead Parents Club.
Yep. They've been allowed into the school because of the fact that a group of trustees was able to take over a portion of the school when Werner's father was in charge. So Werner is not very happy about the fact that these orphans are making his way in. Now, tuition for these orphans is actually being paid for by a woman named Viola. Viola is a Pathfinder bard who has been traveling all across the world. She's been searching for something. Nobody knows exactly what that is that she's been searching for, but in her travels, she's come across a number of different orphans from different situations that have happened. And because of the fact that she was once, when she was very young, an orphan herself, and the parents who took her in were extremely rich and wealthy, but still named her as their own, she feels a certain place in her heart for all orphans across the world, and uses that wealth that she has to pay for those orphans and their tuition, to allow them to have a better start. And that's sort of where we begin the story. We actually begin it with Dave's character,
Played by Sailor Moon.
played by Sailor Moon, and
Typecast,
Crystal
of course.
Lee's character making their way in. Now, at this point, they haven't yet been fully introduced. They've just been sort of seen off on the side as they're entering into the gates of the school itself. And they were seen by a young 8-year-old boy? 8-year-old boy by the name of Parno.
Practically 9.
Practically 9.
Essentially 9, in fact.
You done? You good?
Yeah.
Okay.
They know now.
So Parno saw them off in the distance, and at the same time that he saw them, he happened to see a number of bullies trying to mess with his friend by the name of Corwin. Now, Corwin is stock and short, young little boy, a bit pudgy, and eats probably far too much even for his own age. But he is only 5 years old, so he's much younger than many of the other orphans. Now, the two people who are picking on this poor young boy are a wealthy young boy named Lambert, who comes from and this is where I need to take a moment to look at my notes, the Bastille family. And with him is his little toady, Caspar, who literally has a very toad-looking face. And he's sort of that, like, yes man in training, as it were. And so the two of them are picking on this poor young boy, and a curious Parno sees both these new children coming in, and also sees his friend. So what does he do?
I run over to my friend.
Mm-hmm.
Totally ignore him.
Yep.
Go up to the toady and Lambert
Mm-hmm.
and explain that I think the trustees are here and you're getting dust on your coat and what will they think? And they should probably check out what's going on. And I think she's royalty because she has blue hair. Not necessarily in this order.
Mm-hmm. Now, another person is there as well, but she, I believe, what was she doing?
I like to hide
Mm-hmm.
a lot.
And what did you have?
Rocks.
Yep. And what were you going to do with those
I
rocks?
was gonna throw the rocks at Lambert because he's really mean and he picks on my friends, and I thought that throwing rocks at his face would be better.
Okay.
So.
So instead of Hope and Corwin, you just hid with rocks.
Well, I mean, I'm helping him by throwing rocks at somebody.
But are you throwing them right now?
No.
Okay.
I was gonna. I had the rock in my hand. I just didn't do it yet. And then somebody came by, and then they all left. So I just, kept hidden.
So, while she remained hidden, Parno took the two young boys away from Corwin to go and see these new orphans who had made their way in. Oh, I forgot to say, what's your character's name?
Christiana,
Thank you very much.
also known as Chris.
To
Now-
only a select few.
Now, upon returning, they were only able to see one of the orphans who had arrived, and that orphan was by the name of
Mishka Moroz.
Now, Mishka, you're the one with the blue hair?
Yes.
Okay.
Frosty blue.
Okay. So now Mishka was coming in and happened to see these three boys who were staring at her. But one of them stood out. Now, the reason why that one stood out is because of the fact that every single one of the boys at the school wears a uniform. Each of them has a tie, each of them has a vest, each of them has a jacket, each of them has pants that are very specific, and they have to be worn exactly right. Now, Parno, his tie was down a little bit. His collars, oh, and back behind, his collars were cut to make them loose, and just sort of his general demeanor did not hold the same as many of the other boys. And so he stood out to Mishka. And they had one brief moment of seeing each other before being parted again by Viola, who was guiding the young Mishka inside. Now, inside of the building they were going into, which was, as a matter of fact, the headmaster's own home. Now, the headmaster's home is a building constructed specifically to intimidate people. It is a very tall, Gothic-looking building that uses its shapes inwards to create shadows, to make it look as though the building itself is looming towards all who enter. So as the young Mishka was coming in and entering each of the halls of this wood place, now Mishka loves the cold, don't you? Now this place was cold, wasn't it?
Not like a good cold.
What kind of cold was it?
It was bad cold. There are no good people here.
And so as she made her way through the wooden and very intimidating halls of this place, she was brought forth to the headmaster's office. And in the headmaster's office, she met, sitting at a seat in front of this desk. Oh, maybe I should describe that. So the office itself that she stepped into was a very large office, also made of wood, and upon the walls were pictures of various different people, each extremely similar to one another. Some with broken noses, a few with different scars, maybe one had more bags under the eyes than some of the others, but all of the eyes on each of these paintings was staring directly at two chairs sitting in front of a giant mahogany desk that seemed small in comparison to the room, which only made the room loom towards it even more.
I think all these people on the wall, they look like same people.
They do. And they're all staring directly at you as you step up towards the chair. Now, sitting at the other chair was another young boy, sandy-haired, with ears that rose up, much like icicles, kind of coming off from the side.
I want to touch the ears.
Now, this is...
Curly, Dave's ears.
Wait, hold on. Here, we're just kind of making them a little pointier. There we go. So Dave, this is Dave's character by the name of Hamish, a young half-elf who has been moving around from orphanage to orphanage to orphanage. And by, as a matter of fact, Viola. Now, when Viola brings Mishka in, sees that Hamish is there, at first is shocked, but then also happy to see Hamish, and is then told by a mysterious voice behind the desk that she is to leave and let him continue the interview. Now, the man who is sitting at the chair, who no one even knew was in the room, including Hamish, who had been sitting there for some time waiting, turns his chair around and reveals himself to be the headmaster, Werner von Vossenberg. Now, I'm not doing the accent.
No, you have to do the accent.
Fine. Werner von Vossenberg is a man who comes from Uslav, and he has a very thick Uslavian accent. Actually, it's fairly light. He has been living here in Andron for some time, so most of it comes from his father and his grandfather. But it's very light now. He tries to use it in certain moments to seem more intimidating. So in moments when he's trying to be such, he allows the accent to become far more outward than it is at other times. But of course, when he's trying merely to talk to people and get them closer to him, the accent is able to be removed somewhat. Now, in talking to these young children, Werner explains to each of them that they'll be given a bed and everything about their education, but also explains to them that because of the fact that they are orphans, that does mean that it's very likely that they're not going to get very far regardless, but he will do his best to bring them forward and make them something useful in society.
To make it sound a lot nicer than he did.
Well, that's how he thinks of it.
It's because he is a poopy head.
And how did you feel about it?
I felt he was a very bad man. I think he looks down on me. But I like Hamish. Hamish is a good boy.
You didn't like him at all?
The headmaster?
No, I thought he was pretty nice.
No, he was scary and mean. I am 6. He is big scary man.
That's it. All right.
Big scary man.
So after their short interview, he has them leave, but not before telling Hamish to return a bear back onto his desk. Now you see, Hamish has a bit of a problem. He tends to steal. Since he's been moving from orphanage to orphanage to orphanage, well, he's picked up a nasty habit that, because of the fact that he never really has anything that he truly owns, he just takes from everyone around him. And so he tried taking a small little bear figurine from on top of the desk of the headmaster and unfortunately was caught, already getting his first demerit on his very first day of being in the Wasserberg Academy. When the two went outside, Viola was out there waiting for them, and instead of taking them to their classes, instead what she did was she told them to wait there on the bench and went inside, at which point the two children began hearing extremely loud voices coming from inside of his office. Now, I believe, did you attempt to listen in?
I did, but Hamish tells me something is wrong with the door. I cannot hear.
Of course. And so, because you couldn't hear, it did actually give you and Hamish a little bit of a chance to talk, didn't it? And so what did you think of Hamish?
Hamish is a very nice boy. I like Hamish.
I like you too. We'll cut that out.
Nope, leaving it in.
And so,
We're friends.
that is actually the point at which we left everything. Viola had gone in, she comes back out again, takes the two children, and begins taking them off to class. At this point, you're now going to be able to listen to us do this live